What are you afraid of? Whatever it is, it's here. That and things your little rational mind couldn't even dream of.
This does not look good for Homestar Runner.
This podcast is really late. It was originally recorded just after Con on the Cob 2015 in mid-October. But now it's several months past due for its final production. Our attempt to do a regular podcast has for the most part been abandoned. But Con on the Cob 2015 was a very good con for us as a club. And it also was a very special con for me personally. It was a very significant weekend for me. So I wanted to make sure that even if we don't do any more podcasts, that the post-Con on the Cob 2015 podcast finally does get finished. So even though it's not very timely or relevant any longer, here it is, your post-Con on the Cob 2015 wrap-up podcast, and the second and possibly final episode of the as yet untitled Rogue Cthulhu podcast.
Hello and welcome to the second iteration of the as yet untitled Rogue Cthulhu podcast. I am Marks from Rogue Cthulhu.
And I'm Byron from Rogue Cthulhu.
And we have just gotten back from Con on the Cob about a week ago.
Well, more importantly, I think we've just recovered from Con on the Cob.
We are just recovering from Con on the Cob because, wow.
Damn.
Yeah. Wow. Best con ever.
Absolutely.
And we've been to a few cons.
One or two.
Yeah, or 16 or 18.
You've been to a lot more than I have. Needless to say. Still, I mean, super con.
Yeah, definitely going to have to put that up there, for me at least, as the best con ever.
The bar has been raised. How we're going to outdo 2015 Con on the Cob, it's going to be a tough one.
That is going to make next year that much more challenging.
But the plan is already in motion.
So, for anybody who missed it, Con on the Cob was about a week and a half ago as of this recording. And we did a lot of cool shit. We had about 30 games scheduled, which is a pretty good chunk for what we consider a small con.
Absolutely. It's almost grown out of the small con genre or era that we had started a couple years ago.
We put a little more effort into the production of the event this year. Not up to Origins standards, but definitely higher than we've done at Con on the Cob or small cons in the past. We had some new GMs. We had some new adventures. We had some outrageous parties.
Wow.
There may have been alcohol involved.
Oh, there was absolutely alcohol. An immense amount of alcohol involved.
So where do you want to start?
Well, I mean, I think the first thing we need to do is say thank you to all of our wonderful Rogue Cthulhu fans who joined us at Con on the Cob. And not only that, maybe our new fans that didn't know us before Con on the Cob. Because if you didn't know Rogue Cthulhu before, you certainly do now.
And our GMs.
Absolutely. Of course, we had Heather Ferris, we had Richard Ferris, we had Tom the Viking Arnott, we had Misty Long, Josh Langley, newcomer on board, Amber Wettig, Marks, and of course myself. And while he wasn't GMing, he was definitely a big inclusion to helping get things set up, tear down. Couldn't do it without him, really. Well, we could, but it would require a lot more back-breaking work.
Yeah, then we would have to do it.
We would have to do it, right. But, of course, our only rogue minion at this point, Tyler Wingate. So, games-wise, Heather Ferris ran A Night in Fog. We were a little worried about Thursday night. In the past, we've tried to run 3 games on Thursday night. Only ever really had one go off. And wow. I tell you what, there were people just flooded in right off the bat, and it was amazing. And we had 2 full tables go off. Josh Langley debuted Finding Emo on Thursday night, and Heather Ferris with A Night in Fog. And both games went off full tables. We had at one point, I think there was 12 people started in that game. Ended up running fully with 9. and Josh had a full table.
Yeah, phenomenal turnout for a Thursday night at Con on the Cob. It being a smaller con, we don't normally get quite that many people showing up that early.
And we knew that the bar was raised, that Thursday was going to tell tale of the way the rest of the con went for us.
We did get a little bit of a late start with our setup. Took a little longer to get all of the stuff hauled up there this time because we had a full van full of stuff. Not quite as full as Origins, but it was getting closer.
Well, not only was the main Rogue van about full, but the secondary Rogue van had a lot of stuff in it also.
So we didn't even have the room completely set up until after the games were over on Thursday. We didn't get to mess with the lighting in the room at all, really, until those games were over. We didn't want to interfere with people's games, so we just got the rest of the stuff set up as much as possible until then. But once it was set up, the room looked fantastic. The lighting worked out almost completely to plan. A couple of small hitches, but we learned a little bit. This was a new room for us, so there was a little bit of a learning curve on how we were going to do setup. But we have that now on first year under our belts, and we'll be able to expand and improve on the setup in future years.
But there was plenty of room to be had.
Yeah, it was a really nice space. We fit into it really well. We had plenty of room for our administrative garbage, and we had a nice big prize table set up. All the tables were nicely spaced apart, so it wasn't too crowded, it wasn't too loud. Heat did become a little bit of an issue, but honestly, our room was one of the cooler ones in the con.
Right, I mean, down on the main floor of the con, it was humid. It was, had that smell of chlorine from the pool. And there were a lot of gamers that had mentioned that as an issue. But our room was relatively cool.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of having the indoor pool in the middle of I don't even know what you want to call that, in the middle of the main part of the hotel like that, because it did make everything humid and smell of chlorine. But
especially since, there was a policy of no cannonballing off the mezzanine.
Oh, was there? I totally could have made that too, I swear. Especially by Friday night, I could have definitely made that.
Oh, yeah. Or you wouldn't have felt it if you missed.
No, probably not. I do remember, I believe, most of Friday night.
And, of course, on Friday, we ran some more great games. We had End of the Stair and Final Approach 2. 2 new games out there for Con on the Cob. And we also had the Enchantment game by Misty Long and Heist by Amber Wittig. A few other little titles in there, Fetch the Devil. All went really well. Some were playtest, some were already games that had gone off before.
And of course, everybody, the highlight probably of Friday would have had to have been the Friday Night Speakeasy.
Oh, wow. Let me tell you. Thanks out there to my buddy Dave who checked the door for us. It's always nice to be official. And, we had games going on. I don't think I've ever seen 3 bigger, blacker boxes of Cards Against Humanity going on at any one time anywhere other than Con on the Cob Rogue.
And I was a little concerned when I was first setting up the whole theme for that party because I didn't know how people were going to react to the 1920s style music that I had slated for it, but we got a lot of compliments on that music.
Absolutely. I mean, who would have thought that Duke Ellington would be getting, the thumbs up from the party crowd in 2015.
No, everybody was into it. We did a lot of we did some authentic 1920s music, and we also did a lot of electro swing, whose style was in the 20s through 40s range. But everybody was into the music, definitely.
Right. And it was great to see some people that said Howard had sent them. We gave out some hats. Unfortunately, we didn't get some of them back.
No, we didn't get most of them back.
Well, only the expensive ones, the ones we didn't get back. But we appreciate it nonetheless. We'd like to see more people come in costume next year.
Yeah, we did have a few that came in costume. I didn't really expect that we were going to get a big showing for the costume contest at first because people may not have heard about it or whatever. But we did have a handful that did. We gave away some really nice prizes for that.
Yeah, we had a nice prize pack. Of course, Katrina was the winner with her flapper costume. Her and Josh Langley, who was one of our GMs, were a great couple, both in full decked out outfit.
Yeah, they went the extra mile, definitely. We did some nice decorations for that theme. We had a really nice poster of Howie tending bar.
Oh, yeah.
And we had some silhouettes, cardboard cutouts of gangsters and flappers scattered around the room. I made a second version of a phonograph prop as a set piece.
Which I think would have got a lot more props and attention had it been a little more visible. Unfortunately, it was in the dark side of the room.
Yeah, it was kind of in a little dark corner on top of the table where the speaker was underneath of it. That was kind of the illusion that the music was coming from the phonograph. But yeah, that corner wasn't very well lit. But I don't think anybody minded that, given the fact that we had an incredible amount of alcohol that was free to everybody. We expanded on last year's by leaps and bounds. We had 3 different varieties of Howard's Hooch.
Yeah, we had Classic, which is, of course, the pink lemonade.
Yeah.
We had Nouveau, which is the regular lemonade. And, of course, the Sangria, which was fruit punch.
Which I took a lot of shit for calling it Sangria. For some people kept saying, this isn't really Sangria. It's fruit punch. That's what sangria means. It's fruit and alcohol. Come on. Anyway, yeah.
It was delicious is what it was.
We also did some classic cocktail mixes. We had pre-mixed. We had Greyhounds. We had Sex on the Beach.
Screwdriver.
Oh, yeah. We had screwdrivers.
We had just about any kind of alcohol you wanted to make whatever cocktail you wanted.
Yes, we definitely had the stuff there that people could mix their own cocktails.
I mean, you had all the accoutrements or things to go with them, the garnishes.
I did.
You had fresh mint. You had olives. You had lemons, limes, oranges, cherries. I mean, we had beer in a cooler. People didn't even see it because they kept shutting the lid to sit on it. We ran out of chair space.
Yeah, there were... what was the official count?
The official count when we did it was there were 117 people in the room.
Okay. So we had definitely people floating in and out.
I was also drunk when I was counting. So I think some of those people were actually 3 or 4 people instead of 1.
And that party ran till what, like 5 o'clock in the morning ish, something somewhere around there.
I think I finally wrapped up putting the stuff away at like 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning.
So everybody there had a really great time, and we were really very pleased with the turnout. And nobody got sick. Nope. There was minimal spillage, no breakage. It was just a really great party.
Absolutely. Definitely set the bar high for a future Rogue Cthulhu speakeasy.
Oh, and we forgot to mention Howie's apple pie.
Ooh,
that was a big hit.
Apple pie shine, man. That stuff was amazing. I actually had to get the recipe when we came back because I'm telling you what, it was amazing.
Okay, so Saturday.
Some more great games. Amber Wettig with Wings in the Woods. Richard Ferris ran his new Unwanted game, was taken very well. Whenever good. Josh Langley jumped back in there again. Tom with his Cthulhu Dark Ages adventure, Nightswell. I'm telling you what, that is a great game. I played it at Origins. Josh ran Noodlin'.
Oh my God. I wasn't there, I don't think, for the Saturday iteration, but he ran on Sunday too also, didn't he?
Oh, yes, he did. I played.
I was hanging out in the Sunday, and I'm going to have to call Noodlin the breakout success of Con on the Cob 2015.
The look on the player's face when he reached in the 40-ounce Schlitz mug to grab hold of the lure in the water was priceless.
I was really impressed with Josh Langley's presentation of that. It ran just a tiny bit short, so we're going to maybe try and retool and add another scene in there. But nobody even noticed that it ran short because everyone was having such a fantastic time.
Absolutely. I would play it again if it ran even shorter. It was a good thing, definitely.
And I had my reservations when I first heard about the concept of catfishing plus Cthulhu, but it was amazing.
Absolutely.
Oh, anything else could happen on Saturday?
The 2D6 party.
Oh, I meant before the 2D6 party.
Before the 2D6 party?
All right.
We had Ascension, Amber's game, Last Rites on Bowden Hill, and it ran at Origins, but ran again. I had great players. I had Sean Hartwell and Becky Roberts playing in the game. It was amazing. I like the two of those guys. And, of course, Becky Roberts and Sean Hartwell are part of the Groundhog Gaming Day retreat coming up also that we'll be talking about in a few minutes.
And I want to apologize to Amber and the other players. Saturday morning, I sat in on her game, Wings in the Woods, and I was pretty much comatose through that entire game. So I apologize if I was wet blanketing anybody there.
Yeah, I think we had a few players. I mean, the overall
I wasn't even actually comatose. I was still drunk. What I was.
The overall tone of the speakeasy was either, man, that was a great party, or holy shit, am I hungover?
Yeah, I think I kind of started sobering up around 2 p.m. Kind of toward the end of that game. I was actually still pretty buzzed during that game.
I think I totaled about 12 hours of sleep for the whole con, and 5 hours of it was at the speakeasy.
Yeah, I think I'm clocked in at around 4 or 5 hours for the whole weekend, from like Wednesday through Monday.
And we heard a general tone that several players really didn't get much sleep. And that's okay, because they were still there.
All right, so Saturday night,
2D6 party. Of course, we started out with a little haphazard music that we kind of threw in there that was still well received. I mean, we started out 2 hours into the Barfleet party was the start of our party. And, 2D6 started at, I think, about 11:30 and blew the doors off the place. They almost never get to play house shows. They went out and bought an amp just to play at our party. And they played, they normally do an hour set, and they did an hour and a half. They brought out songs that they had never played before, that they hadn't played in a long period of time. Of course, we hosted another costume contest, which had a variety of people who were there for that. I think one of the highlights was Andy Hop dropping his drawers for Drop a Deuce on the dance floor.
I thought it was Take a Shit on the Dance Floor.
It was Drop a Deuce on the dance floor.
Okay, maybe there are multiple versions of that title depending on the audience.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's Take a Shit on the Dance Floor, Drop a Deuce out your back door.
Okay.
You know you want to.
Okay.
Phenomenal song. And, of course, Saker.
He's a very frenetic, so in his stage presence, so an hour and a half of bouncing around like that, wow, that's really got to take it out of you.
Yeah. He said, he was going to perform in his socks because, no one would ever spill anything on the floor.
In the middle of a party.
And he said 30 minutes in, his socks were soaked. So, but a lot of alcohol was actually consumed, too.
Yes.
But great party. We had 70 plus people in the room for the 2D6 party. While not to name names, but a very close by place that you could hang out had 10.
Yeah, there were 3 parties going on at that time, and I think ours by far was the largest.
Yes.
And
actually, I think in reality there was really only one party going on.
After 11, there was.
Yeah, after 11. But I mean, we had Geek Watch 1 actually was in the house, and they put on their podcast or on their website, their Facebook page, a video of 2D6 and how great they were performing in the Rogue Cthulhu room. So that was nice to meet some of them from Geek Watch 1. We hope to maybe do some cross promotion at some point in the future with those guys. And I think that, I don't know really how much more we could say about Con the Cob.
Well, I ducked out of that party a little bit early. So how long did that run?
It went until 5:30. Actually, I was so intoxicated that Tom and Misty actually wrapped up the room after we got done resetting it. And so I'm not really sure that that's what time we wrapped up.
I left right after the 2D6 set.
But it was close.
I had a really long night the night before, and there were other considerations.
But I think next year we may consider doing some karaoke after 2D6.
That's a possibility.
Let us know if that's something you would like to see.
Yeah, we looked into that real briefly, but we kind of got a late start on it, and we've kind of hooked up with a guy who might be able to do that for us. So if that's something that you guys would be interested in, definitely give us a comment. Which brings us to the Rogue Cthulhu mailbag that we wanted to mention.
Not douchebag, mailbag. We do have Rogue Cthulhu douchebags.
Yeah, but
this is different.
This is different. We want to hear from you guys. We want to hear suggestions for the podcast. We want to hear suggestions for the club. We want to hear suggestions for the cons.
For scenarios.
For anything.
GMs.
Or even just, drop us a line and say hi.
Yeah, or just tell us we suck.
Yeah.
Well, we don't really want to hear that. But
And we're still looking for a name for this podcast. We got a couple of suggestions. Nothing I'd call earth-shattering. Of course, there was only our first episode last time, so a lot of people don't even know about the podcast yet. So we want to ask again to submit suggestions to roguecthulhu@roguecthulhu.com or through our Facebook page, facebook.com/roguecthulhu, and give us suggestions for a title for this podcast.
absolutely. And we've had several people have actually reached out to us and said, how do we support Rogue Cthulhu? And the answer is, we don't know. I mean, other than coming to our games and stuff like that, and, showing us how much you enjoy the scenarios and the events that we put on. So we're looking into some ways of possibly doing that for those people who are interested, but we don't have any answer for that right now.
Yeah, we've had a couple of people who asked, how they can contribute when they found out like how much money ends up getting poured into these shows, and they say like, we really love your show. We want to make sure that you keep bringing this much booze. So how can we contribute to that? We're looking into some options, and
Right.
we'll get back to you.
Yep, coming soon. Maybe by the next podcast next month in December, but
Hopefully, yeah.
hopefully that's our plan.
So the next thing we got coming up is the Groundhog Day gaming retreat.
Right, which they're going to be at Oddmall if by some chance this actually makes it onto the internet by the time the Oddmall happens.
Right.
If not, they were at Oddmall.
Right, and you could have totally
And
signed
you
up.
could have signed up had you been more prepared.
Yes, but you should have gone to Oddmall anyway. But
Absolutely.
now you know why, because you could have signed up for your Groundhog Day gaming retreat while you were there.
Yes.
And we're going to be there. This will be the first time that they've done role-playing at that. Isn't that not correct?
That was what I was told. And they reached out to us and said, hey, we want you to headline it.
So they're going to, how many tables did you say they were going to be running?
They're going to be running 6 tables simultaneously, slightly more than we ran in our rogue room. But hey, you got to start small.
Right, yeah, and this is the first, and this is primarily a board gaming con, very small. It's just a one-day con, right?
No, it's actually
2
3 days.
Oh, okay.
Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Friday, I think it starts at 4, and it ends on Sunday at like 4. So we will be there Friday night, and Friday afternoon, Friday night, and 3 slots on Saturday. And Rogue Cthulhu is 33% or more of the role playing.
Okay, so they're just breaking into the role playing, so there won't be nearly as much of that as there are of the board games. But we're also going to be bringing a board game with us too.
Cultists of R'lyeh, the first time it's ever shown itself outside of Origins.
And that, for those of you who haven't seen it before in our room at Origins, is basically Settlers of Catan done in a Cthulhu style. We made a custom giant size 3-dimensional board. It's basically just the rules are exactly the same as Settlers of Catan. It's just like a skin that we've changed the names of things, we've changed the look of things, and the board was really nicely done. It came out very well. I was very proud of that.
It's not the same size of a Settlers of Catan board, is it?
No, it's giant size. Each tile is about 10 inches across.
It takes up like a 5-foot table.
Yeah, it takes up a whole table.
Yeah, it's huge.
So we're gonna be running that there as well. So I know there's a lot of Settlers of Catan fans out there. Definitely come down and check out the Cultists of R'lyeh.
Which will be set up in the board game room, which is, I believe, the Western Reserve room at the Clarion Inn.
Yeah, this is the same hotel that Con on the Cob was at last year.
The RPGs are going to be in the Twinsburg room.
So they're at the Clarion Inn at Hudson.
Yeah.
Which is where Con on the Cob used to be.
Right.
What was the dates for the gaming day again?
Oh, that's January 29th through the 31st, 2016. Seems weird saying that already. I can't even believe that 2015 is just about gone. But at the Clarion Inn in Hudson, and you can find more information on Groundhog Day Gaming Retreat on Facebook. And I know they have a website too, but I think there's more information going on the Facebook page right now. So they're going to be releasing more information about schedules and so forth. I'll be turning that information over this weekend to Becky Roberts at Groundhog Day.
Okay, one more topic that we wanted to hit on before we wrap this podcast up is the 2016 Origins Rogue Invitational.
Absolutely. Tom Arnott and I wanted to create a game 2 years ago for some great players, and we have so many great players. It's hard to even select any. But we opened it up in 2016 or 2015 to everybody, and the first one was called Protean Gambit. It is a dual table 16-player event, and there are 2 GMs, Tom Arnott, myself right now, but we're opening up to other Rogue GMs if they want to join in and support it, and maybe even be the GMs of it. We're not afraid to step back and give people control. But it is an event where you sign up the year before. So it's open to anybody. All you have to do is see us and put in your name in the bucket, basically. And normally, right after Origins, we draw names and we contact people and reach out to them. I'm a little laxed at getting the information out there to all of the individuals right now for the 2016 Invitational, but more on that coming soon. So if your name is on the list on the Facebook page and you've been contacted, then you will be getting hit up again by email, probably tonight, as a matter of fact.
And definitely, if you have signed up, and especially if you've gotten contacted as one of the players or one of the alternates, definitely reach out to us, stay in contact, because if we don't hear from people, then their seat has to move on.
Absolutely. We have to draw alternates because character selection happens like almost at least 3 months prior to the con. So by March, you're getting your character and your background, which are lavishly done, even for Rogue Cthulhu style. We go all out and really put a lot of time and effort into them because we know who the players are. And so we like to custom do some stuff for people. But definitely the prize support for it is separate from our Rogue Cthulhu points that we talked about, our Rogue chips that we talked about last month. And, it's 2014 Rogue Invitational, the first one. We had a 17-inch Cthulhu trophy that was given away along with some other prizes, some t-shirts, some limited edition Miskatonic University glow-in-the-dark t-shirts that were given away. 2015, we did a Rogue Cthulhu electric guitar. And while it wasn't a perfect guitar, it was still a guitar. And it was received by a lot. Every single person got something. No player will walk away unhappy. And of course, shout out to all the great players from both Invitationals. I'm not going to name names because I can't possibly get everybody. And everybody did a fabulous job. But we'd like to see you in the Rogue Invitational. So sign up at Origins in 2016, and hopefully your name will be drawn and you will be on the list.
Now, the first 2 Invitationals, those were free. We footed the bill for all the tickets for that because that was basically our gift to those players for being so awesome.
Right.
What do we have planned for the future for that?
Well, I mean, obviously, we're going to the charge is still going to be minimal, but people had said that they would love to pay for their tickets instead of us footing the bill for that. But I am not going to shy away on prize support. Every dollar is going to go right back in, and so I only see prize support getting bigger and better, and the bar continually being raised for it. I know Tom and I have already aggressively been working on the scenario, which is going to be called The Awakening. And so we're excited to get it out for the players. And we're working on a kind of an offshoot from the Rogue Invitational. It's not going to be exactly the same, but a specific event for Con on the Cob 2016. So sign up for that. If you're interested in seeing it, put your name on the website and give us a shout out because we will definitely get something going soon.
Yeah, give us a call, email, or whatever. Let us know that you're interested. We'll give you as much information as we have. If you're on the list as a player or an alternate for the 2016 Invitational, definitely get in contact with us so we can make sure that you reserve your spot. We've had people contact us like months later saying, "Hey, I got this email from you like a long time ago." Like, sorry, dude, we had to move on.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, but I mean the logistics of the event call for communication, and we have a secret Facebook page that you will be made a part of so that you're in the loop with everything that's going on specifically for that event. And perhaps next month, maybe Tom can come by and join in the podcast so we can talk a little bit more about it.
And if you're interested in being in the Invitational, definitely get a hold of us at Origins to get your name put in that hat.
Absolutely. I think that about wraps up everything that I got to offer today.
All right, so we want to thank everybody for listening in to our second episode of the Rogue Cthulhu As Yet Untitled podcast, our post-Con on the Cob wrap-up, pre-Groundhog Day gaming retreat.
Possibly pre-Oddmall, depending
on how long it takes me to do editing.
Right.
So, thanks for listening. I'm Marks from Rogue Cthulhu.
And I'm Byron from Rogue Cthulhu.
Best con ever.